twice at West Virginia, once in 2008 for underage drinking and aggravated assault. 2009, he paid a $100 fine and court costs, plus had to do 40 hours of community service. Now, that was 13 years ago. He settled and paid both fines.
So the University of Alabama has described Miller as a cooperating witness. How is this factoring, if at all, into how teams are evaluating him?
Yeah, Malika. I don't think it would be brought up at all if it wasn't for Malika just bringing it up on national television right now.
Welcome to the Dark Times channel. And so here we go again, back with another one. And before I get started, make sure you guys go ahead and hit that like button for me if you haven't done so already. Definitely helps me out more than you know. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you guys go ahead and do that as well. And so let's go ahead and get into it. Last night was the NBA draft, one of the most highly anticipated drafts probably since LeBron James. Victor Wembanyama. You're talking about a 7'4", 7'5" NBA player with an incredible upside and an incredible future ahead of him. So a lot of people were excited about this draft, and a lot of people wanted to watch and tune into this draft. But as soon as I saw that Malika Andrews was going to be hosting the NBA draft, and it was going to be the first time a female has ever hosted the NBA draft, as soon as I saw that, I already knew what time it was. And I did a video on former Alabama player Brandon Miller, now a member of the Charlotte Hornets, and he happened to go number 2 in the draft. And Brandon Miller is a player who found himself in some trouble last year, some legal trouble. Long story short, he loaned one of his teammates a gun, allegedly not knowing the full intent of what his teammate was going to do with the gun, and his former teammate wound up deleting somebody. He wound up deleting a young lady, and that's unfortunate. And I did a video on how the media was covering Brandon Miller at that time and how Brandon Miller was handling everything. I thought he handled it the best that he could, especially on the court. He didn't miss a beat. This is somebody that was in the headlines for something that he didn't even do. And I'm talking about as far as deleting somebody. Yes, he loaned somebody a weapon, but that's not against the law, which is why he's not in prison, and also why he didn't face any legal consequences. And so that story kind of went away as soon as it was determined that Brandon Miller was legally not responsible for anything that his teammate did that night, allegedly did that night. And so as soon as I saw, like I said earlier, as soon as I saw that Malika Andrews was going to be covering the NBA draft and she was going to be hosting the NBA draft, I saw the writing on the wall. And so sure enough, what does Malika Andrews do? She brings up this gun case. She brings up the gun case involving a young lady that tragically lost her life. But if legally and in the court of law, this young man has been cleared of any wrongdoing and is not culpable in any way, why then would Malika Andrews want to bring this to the world's attention? And I've done numerous of videos on Malika Andrews. And I was probably one of the first people on YouTube to really dig into Malika Andrews' background with this video that I posted sometime last year. And I'm gonna go ahead and post a link to the video in the description. And so if you guys wanna check that out and get a little more understanding into Malika Andrews' background, I'm gonna go ahead and post the link and you can go ahead and do that. And so people online are really going in on Malika Andrews. And people are starting to see what time it is with Malika Andrews. And she has a long track record of dragging black men under the bus, needlessly dragging them under the bus. And so as I was going across some of the comments online, I came across this comment. And this guy on Twitter said, Twitter really turned on Malika Andrews in record time. People realize there's an entire team of ESPN people, ESPN telling her what to say from a truck, right? She's not talking about the gun case because she's personally trying to tank his draft stock or whatever people think. And this person is absolutely right. 100% absolutely right. Malika Andrews is not the one that's dictating terms to ESPN. ESPN is dictating terms to her. And if y'all remember, before Malika Andrews was the main female at ESPN, I would say Rachel Nichols was the head honcho female at ESPN. She was the one with the majority camera time. She was the one getting all the relevant interviews. And so Rachel Nichols was the alpha female at ESPN. But then it seemed like almost overnight, Malika Andrews took over the spotlight. Almost overnight. And as soon as that happened, I saw the writing on the wall. A lot of people tend to get excited when you see a so-called black person or a so-called black celebrity that has been promoted to a certain position and elevated to a certain position. That's never a good thing. It's never a good thing for black people. It's never a good thing in politics, and it's for damn sure never a good thing when it comes to media, and especially in particular sports media. Because much like politics, when it comes to mayors and police chiefs and things like that, these aren't the people that are dictating policy. Policy is being dictated to them. A mayor or a police chief doesn't have the power to dictate policy because 9 times out of 10, they don't have the financial backing on their own to be able to even run for those positions. So the people that put them in the position are the ones that are dictating policy. And it's the same thing with Malika Andrews. The people that put her in that position are the ones that are dictating policy. So if you guys check out that video I did on Malika Andrews' background, you'll understand why she was handpicked. You're talking about an individual that has black skin, but despises black people and despises the black community for a number of reasons. And it all stems from her childhood. And so people can get upset at Malika Andrews all they want, and rightfully so, because at the end of the day, there's several other jobs in this world that an individual can take. You don't have to take a job that you know the number one requirement is going to be to throw the black man under the bus. Whenever the opportunity presents itself, that's your number one job. You're going to be the attack dog of ESPN. And so essentially, Malika Andrews is nothing more than the liberal version of a Candice Owens. Because Malika Andrews has the green light, the ultimate green light, and the ability to bring up conversation and to bring up topics that people that don't necessarily look like her could never bring up without pointing out obvious racism. But because she has a black face, she has the green light to basically gaslight whatever situation that she wants to when it comes to the so-called black man. Like I said earlier, she has a contempt for so-called black society. And she goes out of her way to try to blacken it up as much as she can while she's on some of these shows with the yo talk and a little slang here and a little slang there. But at the end of the day, trust me when I tell you, she has a contempt for black society. And like I said earlier, if you guys want to go check out that video that I did a few months back where I dive into her background, you'll understand just what I'm talking about. And I'll make sure I'll go ahead and put a link in the description and you guys can see what I'm talking about. And so I think that's going to be a wrap on this particular video. Definitely chime in the comment section and let me know how y'all feel about this one. And as usual, peace and chaos.